We've been yapping long enough. It's time to talk about volunteers building Classic Plus just for Blizzard to resell it to us. It's lovely. I truly love the way Blizzard operates. Just take down the competition instead of actually creating a great experience for your players. Truly wonderful. I just love to see that a bunch of bozos at the facilities at Blizzard Estate are too busy cube crawling and milk drinking, fridge raiding, etc. to actually give us a good Classic Plus experience. No, they had to wait for people, fans of World of Warcraft, to create an experience that we all enjoy and love, just to crush it in front of our eyes and make their own version, which I'm sure would not contain any microtransactions whatsoever.
So, Blizzard shut down Turtle WoW, a passion project, 8 years of work, tens of thousands of players, a community that loved World of Warcraft. Maybe even more than Blizzard themselves do at this point. Just gone. Court order, cease and desist, immediately and permanently. And the kicker? Blizzard's reason was that Turtle WoW harmed the player experience. Harmed the player experience. The same company that was...
It harmed me gaining more funds. Of course it harmed the player experience. They stole like 500,000 players from Blizzard. It was insane. And don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not advocating for piracy here, okay? If Blizzard would have actually been competent enough to create a good Classic Plus version, I would have paid for a subscription. 100%. Screw it. I would have even paid for a base game. Because I'm that deprived of a good MMO. Okay, no shade to Guild Wars 2. It's really fun. I'm just too WoW-brained and WoW-pilled to enjoy anything but World of Warcraft to the maximum. So, if Blizzard would have actually offered us a good Classic Plus experience, I would have paid for a subscription. 100%. And I think most people can cough up a few bucks to do so as well. But it's not that. It's the problem that Blizzard are unwilling to renovate and do anything that is out of the box anymore. All they do is watch other companies make a great game and they copy it. And they don't even elevate the formula like they used to do back in the day, because WoW is a copy of EverQuest. It was literally made by a bunch of EverQuest addicts that lost years of their lives playing EverQuest, and they made it better. That's how you do. WoW used to steal stuff from other video games and make it better. It was their thing. Now they take everything from Guild Wars 2 and make it worse. They're not even creating vistas correctly. You've seen Midnight Vistas. Is literally just you standing in one place and the camera goes like, woo! It's not even showcasing the place you're standing on. It's so garbage. It's disgusting.
Sell you a treehouse for $75 and make the only alternatives a wooden shack or a very specifically elven mansion. The same company are running you through the same vanilla content with the same bots and the same gold farmers plaguing the world. The same company that can't give you something the community, based from Turtle WoW, would absolutely adore. Classic Plus. But apparently has plenty of time and money to lawyer up against the few people actually passionate about making WoW into the game so many want. Yeah, we need to talk about this. First I want to go back, way back, 1991. 3 guys, Alan Adam, Mike Morheim and Frank Pierce, fresh out of UCLA, each throw in about 10 grand of their own money, Morheim borrowing his share from his grandmother. That's the founding of what would become Blizzard Entertainment, and their whole philosophy, it was almost embarrassingly simple. Make the games they wanted to play. That was it. That was the pitch. No market research, no focus groups, no monetization roadmap, just we're gamers, we love games, let's make games we actually want to sit down and enjoy. And it worked. Not just commercially, it worked artistically. Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo, games didn't just sell well, they defined genres. Games that 30 years later, people are still playing, still streaming, and still loving. Here's
True, and by the way, Starcraft should have been a Warhammer 40k game, and Blizzard didn't get like the IP rights, so they just made their own. And look what it became. It was such a huge sensation back in the day, and Blizzard is too afraid to even innovate on that.
what's important to understand. A lot of those early devs were critics first. They weren't just guys who happened to make games. They were also people who played other games and thought this could be better. They came from a place of genuine, almost obsessive passion. They weren't handed an IP and told to make it profitable. They built the IP because they cared. Jason Schreier, who wrote the book Play Nice about Blizzard's rise and fall, described it simply. In the 90s, most game companies were run by money people who saw games as commodities. Blizzard was the exception. The founders were gamers who wanted to make great games. That was the secret. Then, WoW launches in 2004, peaks at 12 million subscribers, becomes one of the most culturally significant games ever made. And for a long time...
Yeah, I don't think people are aware to how culturally significant World of Warcraft was back in the day. It completely changed the culture. It was even more so than, more than GTA San Andreas. It had such a huge cultural impact that literal news outlets spoke about how many time like children are spending on this game and they're losing their sanity. I mean, then someone like croaked playing World of Warcraft. Well, I'm sure by this point many has because that's what the game is about nowadays. But it was insane, bro. I still remember that. It's crazy.
Blizzard kept that spirit alive. They listened. They iterated. When Classic launched in 2019 and players flooded back in by the millions, some waiting in literal queues for hours just to get in the game and then also to quest, it proved something important. People don't just have nostalgia for the content. They have nostalgia for the feeling. The sense that the game was made by people who gave a damn. But something changed. You can't pin it on one moment. It's a slow rot. The Activision merger in 2007, Bobby Kotick creeping his hands further and further into creative decisions, Mike Morhaime, the guy who literally borrowed money from his grand to start this company, eventually getting so worn down by the conflict with Activision that he just left in 2018. By 2019, Blizzard had done mass layoffs, 800 people. In the same quarter, they reported record revenues. Let that sink in. Record revenues. Layoffs. The writing was on the wall. This was no longer a studio trying to make the best game possible. This was a corporation trying to extract maximum value from an IP it had inherited. And World of Warcraft became the perfect example of that extraction. Every expansion, the same treadmill, gear resets, feature bloat, systems layered on top of systems. The game gets more complicated without ever getting more interesting. Old players leave, new players are confused, and the devs, however talented, are clearly working inside a machine that doesn't prioritize what made the game special in the first place.
Absolutely. He is spitting facts right there. And you know why it's like that? Because Fortnite made everyone think that live service is how you should create a video game. Fortnite, however great it was, or still is, I don't know if many people are playing it or not. I'm kind of out of the BR loop for a long time. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. You cannot make a game that is like Fortnite for every single genre. It doesn't work. Everyone are trying to do live service game these days, and that completely killed the video game industry. You see it with Call of Duty, releasing every single year. You see it with World of Warcraft, playing more like Diablo than an MMORPG, with all of the seasonal resets and all of that stuff. That should never take place inside of an MMORPG. And you see this with every other company trying to mimic games that are successful. It was the same thing with Overwatch, and we've seen the Jeff Kaplan podcast speaking about this, so I'm not going to get into it, but basically, they told Jeff Kaplan, hey, we're gonna give you a crew of X amount of people, really a lot, and you're gonna make this game free to play, you're gonna put in microtransactions, it's going to work. They did it. It's called Overwatch 2. Did it work? No. Not at all. They actually reverted back to Overwatch and made the game 10 times better because Marvel Rivals siphoned their last waifus. So it's just incredible to see. The same model cannot apply for everything. There's a formula. And Blizzard has already cracked it back in the day. You know what works. And you see it now. You see that people like to play Turtle WoW. You guys need to understand something. Pulling 500,000 players as a private server is insane because most people either don't hear about private servers or they just don't trust them. So doing this as a private server is incredible. The moment Blizzard releases Classic Plus on their official servers, and even if it's as good as Turtle WoW, they're gonna fly. Like, numbers are going to be insane. You're gonna see numbers you've never seen before. I promise you that. We're gonna go back to the glory days of WoW.
Meanwhile, a bunch of volunteers on the internet are running a free private server called Turtle WoW, and for 8 years they're doing something Blizzard won't. They're building Classic Plus. New quests, new zones, new dungeons, new races, a whole expanded world, set in the era players actually loved, being built by people who love the game. Peak player counts? Tens of thousands. No marketing budget, no shareholders, just love for the game. So what does Blizzard do? Well, in August 2025, they filed
the best marketing is making a good game. Word to mouth is one of the best thing you can pray your game will have. It's that simple. You want the best example? Deadlock. Look at Valve Deadlock. Not only it's under extreme condition of getting into, you literally need like invite from people who are already inside. By this point, the game has pretty much been infested, so everyone kind of gets an invite. But back in the day when I started playing, it was literally a hassle to get into. I had to go into a very contrived group of people to just pray they actually sent me an invite. Fortunately, I got in. But now it's like way easier. Regardless, I digress. Look at how popular the game is. You have like almost 100,000 people playing it concurrently. It's insane. At peak times, obviously. Very, very good numbers, insanely good, and the game isn't out yet. And the game looks and plays like an alpha game. It doesn't even play well. It doesn't even play like a beta game or obviously a full release game. Whenever Deadlock hit full release, it's going to be sensation. I can already tell that. And it's only because of word to mouth. Valve does nothing to market their games. Literally nothing. No, they do the opposite. They demarket their games. And it's still successful.
Copyright infringement lawsuit, 7 counts. They win on all of them. And the court order, signed by a federal judge, doesn't just shut Turtlewell down, it bans them from ever creating a successor. It bans them from handing the code, the assets, the social media accounts to anyone. It extends to any company or entity that the defendant owns or controls in the future. They didn't just kill Turtlewell, they salted the earth. And Blizzard's justification? That Turtlewell harms the player experience. Now look, I know, Blizzard owns the IP, legally, and they are in the right. Intellectual property law is intellectual property law. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Blizzard didn't have a case. They absolutely did. But let's not confuse legal with right. And let's not pretend this is about protecting players. This is about protecting monopoly on an IP they've spent the last decade doing increasingly less with. Because here's the part that should make you genuinely angry. Blizzard could have made Classic Plus themselves. The community's been asking for it for years. Season of Discovery was supposed to be the answer. Their exploration of what a modified vanilla experience could look like.
Season of Rehashery. There you go. It's the same content, but I changed one thing, so now I call it Season of Discovery. And people actually had the audacity to comment on my streams that World of Warcraft Season of Discovery is like Classic Plus. Brother, if you think that, I'm sorry, you need to be immediately institutionalized. We should revoke your internet license. You're not too old enough to be on the internet. On the wide web, the wide web is just not for you. And it just sucks to see. People have been conditioned to think that every minute change inside of World of Warcraft Classic is Classic Plus. No, that's not Classic Plus. You know what Classic Plus is? Turtlewell. Changing the talents, changing how classes work, making them fit the original vision of Blizzard back in the day that they did not manage to pull because they were out of time and out of budget. Making new zones, making new like races and class combinations. Everything. This is the good stuff. And Season of Discovery did some of that, but it was on the very few % level. It's like 10% of Turtlewell, maybe, if I'm being generous.
And while it had its moments, it was ultimately too small, too safe, and too temporary. It wasn't Classic Plus. It was barely even Classic Plus light.
Look at all of these talents.
A server designed to funnel you back into the subscription treadmill. The fans who wanted more, they went to Turtlewell. And now Turtlewell is gone. They could have opened a vanilla server, as is, fresh classic, and actually started working on patch notes, as if they were still passionate about the game, as if they actually wanted to cater for the massive group of people not wanting to tread the path towards retail. But it's always just a seasonal thing, a loop that splits and funnels down into retail WoW. Which brings us to the thing everyone's talking about right now, Classic Plus. There are whispers, there are hints. Season of Discovery showed Blizzard is at least thinking about expanding classic content. The 20th anniversary servers prove the appetite is still massive. People queue for hours to play the same game they played in 2019 because the nostalgia is still that strong. But here's the...
It's not nostalgia, the game is just really fun. I really hate the nostalgia argument. Guys, the nostalgia argument died the moment Classic WoW released. It's not nostalgia. People just truly enjoy old World of Warcraft better than retail. It's that simple. You really don't need to look that deep into it.
Question. Can Blizzard actually deliver Classic Plus in a way that satisfies the people Turtle?
Yeah, and by the way, I know this because I haven't played in 2004, obviously. I was a kid and my parents thought that putting their credit card online would immediately get it stolen, which is ironically more truer today than it was then. But I didn't play WoW back in the day. I played it whenever it was re-released as classic, and it was amazing. It's my all-time favorite MMORPG. It's not nostalgia. I wasn't nostalgia bound by a single thing, and I loved it. Every single bit of it.
I was feeding. Because those players aren't just nostalgic for graphics or the level cap. They want a world, they want the social experience, they want the content that was clearly made by people who understand why vanilla felt alive in a way modern WoW doesn't. They want new dungeons that fit the aesthetic, new story that respects the lore, new content that doesn't feel like a roadmap item designed to drive subscription renewals. Blizzard has the resources. They're a $70 billion company. Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. They have the money, more staff, more technology than than any private server could ever dream of. And yet, the best Classic Plus content players could find was being made for free by volunteers in Eastern Europe, running on privately hosted servers with almost zero budget and zero corporate backing. This is a condemned...
Yeah, because Blizzard employees are too busy cube crawling and fridge raiding, they can't even work on the game. And the one who do, they just work on the microtransactions. Because, you know, whenever the new retail midnight patch ships, and you literally have command bugs inside of raids, where command prompt actually popping inside of a raid boss, and instead the shop fires up in seconds, you know you have a problem. You've been to the shop? Have you seen that new tree bundle that costs like $75? That's retail. That's World of Warcraft. That's what you came here for.
Nation, not of the law, of the culture. Here's what I want you to take away from all this. Blizzard was founded by people who criticized games before they made them, who played MMOs and thought, I could do this better, who came from outside the industry with fresh eyes and genuine passion and built something the world had never seen. Turtle WoW was made by people who criticized WoW's direction and thought, I could do better, who came from outside the corporate structure with fresh ideas and genuine passion and built something in the spirit of what Blizzard used to stand for, and Blizzard shut them down. A company that was born from passion and criticism is now using its legal team to silence passion and criticism. The founders used to say
yeah, of course, because that company is long gone. It's a bunch of people in suits. It's not competent developers. It's not passionate people. Have you seen the current wine mom acting as a VP? She's too afraid to call it Warcraft. She want to censor that too. You have incompetent people in charge. You have wine moms and labubu millennials hijacking the company and changing the story to make the most neurotic, outlandish characters out there. Of course nothing is good inside of World of Warcraft. It has been gone, like, in decades now. Well, like, in a decade now. It is what it is, man. The Disneyfication of WoW, every single thing that happened, every system inside of the game was cultivated by Blizzard, and it's by design. They do this on purpose. It's just such a shame. Man, I got overheated over this video. By the way, like, zero budget is a bit of a stretch. Turtle WoW made bank, true. You're actually right about that. We should mention that.
Starter was to make games they wanted to play. Today, Blizzard is making games their shareholders want to monetize. That's the rot. That's the betrayal. Not of the IP, they can keep the IP, it's theirs, but of the ethos, of the promise, of the reason people fell in love with the company in the first place. So here we land. Blizzard is probably working on Classic Plus in some form. Whether it's a full expansion, a permanent season, or something else entirely. The signals are there. They know the demand exists. They've killed the competition, and now they have to deliver. And this moment, right now, in the wake of shutting down Turtle WoW, is genuinely a make or break for a massive chunk of their audience. If Classic Plus launches, then it's great. If it captures what made vanilla magical, if it respects the lore, if it gives players new content that feels like it was made by people who love the game, then maybe you can forgive the lawsuit. Maybe it was just IP protection. Maybe they really did want to channel the energy into official content. But if Classic Plus launches and it's mediocre, if it's another safety first, subscription extracting, limited time season that doesn't scratch the itch, if Blizzard proves once again that they understand the commercial value of nostalgia but not the emotional value of it, then they didn't shut Turtle WoW down to protect the game. They shut it down because they couldn't stand somebody else loving it more than they do. A $70 billion company, the original creators, and volunteers with no budget were doing it better. Think about that.
Okay, I mean, true. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. I mean, this was such a great video. This is the first video I watched from this guy. I'm going to leave it in the description. You guys should watch it for yourself. By the way, my comments kind of broke towards the end there. I just noticed towards the end. Apologies. I don't know what the hell happened there. The comments completely broke. But regardless, I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page here. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want a good Classic Plus experience. Now, is Blizzard going to deliver that? I want to say probably, because they siphoned all of Turtle WoW code. So maybe they absorbed Turtle WoW team. I'm not really sure. We still have to wait for details until we know for certain. But even if they are going to release Turtle WoW as is, just as an official server, people are going to play that. 100% people are going to play that.